I would standing here as content creator with more than 6 lakh followers. I would have checked your medical record for signs of delirium. When we see the successful people, we see the numbers, subscribers, followers, we see the awards, we see the applause, but we don't see the 2 a.m. recording, we don't see fear before upload, fear before pressing upload button, we don't see failure, don't see the hard work, don't see the doubts. Today, I will be talking about the unseen part, the journey behind the every success. Let me share you some stories. I will share you three important stories. One is related with the YT channel. The second story is related with the handwritten notes, and third, how I joined the EdTech platform. So the first story, I was working in Sri Vasantrao Naik Government Medical College, Yavatmal, and we failed to complete the syllabus, not because of our laziness, it is because of common ops. All of you know about the common ops and the time constraint. The main is the time constraint. So I don't want student to fail. So I took cardboard, I took table, and I balanced my phone on stainless steel dabba. I balanced my phone on stainless steel dabba and hit record button with whiteboard, simple whiteboard and whiteboard marker, expecting 150 views each for each student in my class. 150 students were there at SVNJMC Yavatmal, like TNMC is having the 150 students. So expected views 150, but something miracle happened that 150 becomes 1,500, that 1,500 becomes 15,000, that 15,000 becomes 1,50,000 and so on. Why this happened? People weren't watching for 4K resolution, it was not there. People weren't watching for the editing, it was none. People, students were watching for the simple whiteboard teaching with chalk and board. Simple with chalk and board like approach. So, education isn't always glamorous. My studio was my bedroom. Means after my children went to sleep, my bedroom becomes my studio. Let me share you one incident. One night I decided to shoot TCA cycle, the core biochemistry topic, Krebs cycle. And with full confidence, with full sound, I started recording and suddenly voice came, bho bho. The neighborhood dogs decided that TCA cycle could wait, but they had their own midnight conference to conduct. I paused, wait for silence, and started again. So all of you know the mnemonics, all the guys know the mnemonic. Citrate is a starting substrate for making oxaloacetate. So it starts with the citrate, then alpha ketoglutarate, then oxaloacetate. So when I reach alpha ketoglutarate with full confidence in my full speed, again the sound came. At oxaloacetate again. And at some rare afternoon, when I was doing recording, the vegetable vendor outside announces with more voice than my entire class, Aloo lelo and Kanda lelo. Okay, don't you remember the welcome movie dialogue? Subah se na bika adha kanda na adha aloo. So student messaged me, sir, we heard aloo wala today. But they stayed till end. They watch alpha ketoglutarate, they watch oxaloacetate. And that's when I notice, I understand something powerful. Perfection doesn't build connection. Authenticity does. Your genuine effort does. No soundproof room, no studio, no high-tech recording. But those interruptions taught me something beneficial, something important. The listening, the learning doesn't occur in perfect silence. It happens in presence of chaos, in presence of noises, in presence of background noise. So why it happens? Because students connected. I didn't have studio. I had simple app. All of you know the Kind Master, the early phases, free app for the editing. So I had that app. The same 10-minute topic would be recorded for 10 times because of tiny spell mistake. Tiny spell mistake. 10 times, same recording. So the journey was begun in thus like this, and then the demand of notes was there. So I finally decided the second story about the handwritten notes. I decided to print. Finally, I decided to print some copies of the notes. Okay, so I went to the publisher, the local publisher, and I asked him to print 50 copies of the notes. How many copies? 50 copies of the notes. He suddenly replied with full confidence, "Sir, minimum 100 copies required." And my confidence dropped down to 50%. From 100%, it dropped down to 50%. Will it sell? Will it buy? Will student buy this type of handwritten notes? But we decided to print 100 copies. And I remember thinking, what if they just sit in my cupboard? So we decided to print 100 copies, and something miracle happened. Over the period, student get connected. It was like student liked that notes, and it connected with the student. So what happens? Over the period of time, in the next 2 years, near about 16,000 copies were sold. In the 2 years span, 16,000 copies were sold. Why? Because of glossy paper? Because it had marketing? No, it was not there. Because it connected with the student. Student felt like their own notes in their hand. That's why it connected with the student. Later on, it was acquired by the JP Medical publisher, and in the next 2 years till date, near about 40,000 copies sold, near about 40,000. But this number is not important. This number is not important. What was important, the moment was important when we decided to print that 100 copies. That was important. Okay, so people don't see the success, people see the success, they don't see the hard work, they don't see the doubt, they don't see the hesitation while printing the 50 or 100 copies. They see the 40,000 copies sold. Okay, so this was about the handwritten notes. It connected with the student. When teacher draw it in chalk and board like fashion, the student also draws same image in their brain. Now the third, how the EdTech platform, all of you know that billions of rupees are spent on the EdTech platform for 3D graphics and the marketing purpose. So there was call from the EdTech company. All of you know about the physics wala. There was a call from EdTech company. Initially, I ignored, but when I met with the team, we were discussing the same idea, the same concept, the always student first. Student should be always first. It was not to build the business, it was to democratize education. It was to democratize education. It was to bring the education at the affordable level. So why this happens? This is because of the connection, because we connected with the students, that's why we succeed. See, it is here what is important. If you are in that phase, if all of you in that phase, doubting yourself, thinking about constructing something, so don't fear. This will be your story. This will be your own story, and you will also succeed. So this is short introduction. This was short introduction about the unseen events, the unseen part of the extraordinary journey. I think this was not extraordinary, but something above the average. So wish you best of luck, all my students, not only for this Valentine week, but also for your lifelong journey. Thank you, organizer team and all members for calling me here. Thank you very much. Thank you.